Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roll Together and to the Chronicles of Aeodrun Origins, which is our prequel to the new long-running campaign that will be starting soon. We have been going through each of the individual characters who will be appearing in the campaign and learning a little bit about them through backstory shenanigans and trauma and making people cry and all of that sort of stuff. And not all of it was me. Some of it was Tom.
Okay, yeah, that does not surprise me.
Yeah. And as you can see, Tom's not here today again, because Tom and I can do things separately. Sometimes.
Was that a query?
It was more of a.
I have seen them not in the same room at the same time before. It's been observed.
We are different people.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm joined by Nat today. Hello, Nat.
Hi.
We are going to be exploring your character, whose name we will not reveal yet. Although, if you are watching this on stream or on YouTube or wherever on anywhere that you can visibly see it, you'll see who Nat is playing anyway because of Hero Forge.
Hide it, cover it up.
Hide it, quick. We'll just blur it. We'll just blur it the entire time. There we go. We'll just blur it so nobody can see, especially. Anyway. For any of that happens, we have some sponsors and supporters that we'd like to thank. We have Phoenix Dice as our sponsor, and then supporters are Idol Champions of the Forgotten Realms and Bearded Ladies. We also have the D20 Club, who are amazing and wonderful. We always do the love hearts for them. They help us with everything that we do here. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. They've helped us create a fan Discord and a wiki page. You can find those in the chat now if you're on Twitch, or in the description below if you're on YouTube. You can sign up for as little as one of your local currency or one goat, which must be sent to Tom. That's all we're going to say on that because we'll get cancelled otherwise. with that said and done, we're going to play a title sequence and then we're going to jump into today's session. Our story, or this particular origin story, begins in the southern western part of the continent of Aeodrun, in the city of Abacathis. Abacathis is known as the City of Beasts and is the oldest city and the largest city on the continent and in the known world. It's been around since the times of the Divine, as what they were back in the day. Not much is known about them now, unless you wanted to visit the Great Library, which is located within the Pyramid Palace. Great Library houses an obscene amount of books where scholars and researchers travel to. Some spend their entire lives researching everything that's within the library. And the Queen of the city, Akith, the Sphinx, the Great Sphinx, rules over from said pyramid. However, I think that's a little bit grand for our beginnings. Our story is going to begin in the university that is housed within Abacathis. The university itself is not near the pyramid, it's more down on the street levels, and it is the largest educational facility that there is on the continent. There are other schools dotted around, and they teach anything from how to become a knight, how to become a wizard, a sorcerer, spellcaster, how to do herbalism, to the aspects of space travel and all of this sort of stuff. It's all theoretical, of course, the space travel stuff anyway. Nobody's actually attempted it before because they can't even build airships at the minute. So,
but we know that space exists and is a place that you could go theoretically.
Yes, theoretically. Apparently they tried to send some people to the moon, but apparently it was all faked. You know, the stuff they did was all illusions and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's nothing like our technological stuff. Anyway, our story.
Just beg the question: if all of the evidence of them sending people to the moon was faked, right? Obviously, here the gag is that it was the TV record, like the recording that they have, the video recording was all faked and pre-shot. But in this kind of world, I mean, TV does not exist, right, Josh?
It doesn't, but illusions do. They show
Illusions
things on like
do,
illusions.
But how far away is the moon as far away as our moon? Because people would not be able to see them on the moon, and therefore, does it matter that they do an illusion of like people on the moon, or is it just there was a play, and they were like, "Oh, the people went to the moon," and the people in the audience were like, "We could clearly see it's illusion magic," and the actors would just be like, "Yeah, that's what plays are like here, dumbass."
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
There are actually 2 moons on this world. No, we're not copying any other people who are using 2 moons at the moment. The moons have no significance to the world. There's just 2 of them. That's all there is.
Sure.
There is always a moon in the sky, whether it is day or night, because one moon is on the northern hemisphere of the planet, the other moon is on the southern hemisphere, and there's always one in the sky.
What are they called?
What are they called? They don't have names. They're just called Moon 1 and Moon 2.
What? Here's me trying to make the moons a thing.
They are not a thing. They are not. One of them is not red, for one. Anybody who has no idea what I'm talking about, go watch Critical Role. They're doing a lot of stuff with the moon at the moment. Anyway, our story begins in the Great Hall of the Abercathis University. The Great Hall is one of those sort of places that is always repurposed. At the minute, it's set up for lunchtime. So all of the students are coming in to grab their various different types of foods, whether it be packed lunches or queuing up for the dinner queue. There's tables everywhere that they can sit at. There are other times where the tables are all sort of put away and there are chairs put out for various different assemblies and all of that sort of stuff. Even though this is a university, they do have children of younger ages who go here, sort of like, if you think of it in a UK sort of way, they do have primary school, secondary school sorts of levels of ages here. As this is the largest educational facility in the city, this is where everybody goes. Instead of having multiple different schools dotted all over the place, they just have the one educational system here in Abercathis. As everybody is coming in to get their food, we see a particular person come in. This person, I'm going to get Nat to describe now, and then we'll go into a bit more detail. What would you be doing as you walking in? Would you be with any friends? Would you be on your own? And are you going for a pack up, or are you queuing up to get something from the dinner ladies?
Okay. A lot of those questions, I guess, depend on the infrastructure of the school. So I have been sent here by my parents, who are relatively wealthy. Does that mean that like, what's the lunch queue system? Is it like if you've paid a certain amount, you can just walk up and take whatever you want, or is there like I don't know. I don't think she would have packed her own lunch, if that's what you meant.
So there's three different queues. There's a queue for people who have paid for a pre-made meal, like a pack up type thing. So they walk up, pick up the pack up, and then they can either eat it in the hall or go outside into the grounds and sit outside and eat it. There's another queue where it is pay as you go. So pick what you want and pay for it. And then the third queue is more for like the prefects and those of who are on like the school council sort of thing. They'll go into they'll get that queue so they can get through quicker, and then they're taken through to, and it's also the queue that the teachers and professors queue up in as well, and then they have their own separate area outside of the Great Hall to go and eat.
Cool.
So you can be in any of those three.
In that case, probably the first one. Like, it's been prepaid, and she's coming along to to grab it and go. Ideally, I think. Are we doing names now, or is it still a mystery?
You can introduce yourself and your name if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure.
It will
So
come up on the screen now.
at this point in time, Minerva will enter the room. She's relatively tall. I know we've had this debate before, Josh. So relatively tall. She's about 5'11", okay?
Right. I'm going to do this live now. What is the average human height? Male 1.7 meters, that doesn't help me. And 1.6 meters for a female.
Yeah, I'm 1.65.
Right, I
So
stand corrected. I'm sorry to you and to Pixie in chat and everyone. I thought 5'10" was the average.
Vindication. Yeah, so she's about 5'10", 5'11". Dark, long, dark hair, a little wavy. She's got a little scarf around her head, and the hair is sort of like half up, like pinned half up, and then the rest is trailing down her back. As we see behind her, some of the strands of her hair glint golden in the light. It's not a good chunk of it, it's just a couple of strands of it. Enough for, if you were paying attention, it to be a slight, oh, that's unusual. But, as I said, the top of her head is mostly covered over by this scarf. And as we look at the other side, as she sort of looks up and around the dining hall, sort of not warily, because this is somewhere that she goes every day, but it's the eyes of someone who is just routinely checking, like, yep, the queue is where I expect it to be, and like there are people everywhere and noise everywhere, and okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go get my lunch and leave. Her eyes are, if she's in dim lighting, they kind of look like a hazily color, but as soon as she steps into light, you see that they are actually more of an amber with golden flecks, and a little bit intense. But she tries to sort of keep her head slightly tilted down at most times. Wearing sort of this, is this a kind of school that would have like a specific uniform for, because she's sort of college age now, right? Rather than like full university, she's kind of like 19ish at this point. So like, yeah, and end of college, start of university, or
Think because Abercathus itself is set. The actual city itself is located within a desert. I think it is a more. There's no set uniform. It's a bit like how schools in America do it. You can go in what you want. There is a dress code, as in, you know, you can't wear skirts up to your waists, that sort of stuff. No arms, not too much flesh on show, sort of thing. No midriff things and arms, sleeves, and all of that. You have to have sleeves, is what I mean by that, and all of that sort of stuff. So there is a basic dress code, but you can wear whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with.
sure.
There are people. Different people are affected by the weather in different ways.
Sure. In that case, so I know I have prepped the mini for Minerva, but on the assumption of where we're going to end up for the actual main campaign. But here in Abercathus, where it is a desert and it is hot, I think she would be wearing practical clothes for that environment. So sort of flat sandally shoes, like loose linen-y trousers and shirt with a waist sash, and a very light over jacket to sort of deal with the heat and the dryness.
Okay, awesome. So as you're currently queuing up, you're probably 3 people away from being able to grab your lunch.
Mhm.
And as you're stood there waiting, you just feel a little something within you, and you just got this feeling of, oh, I wonder what it is today. Is it the same as yesterday? Is it going to be something different? I'm hoping it's not what we had on Monday, because that was horrible. They didn't cook that properly. And as you just get that in your head, almost like a voice, but more like a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And as that gets interrupted by something wet and somewhat hard hitting you in the back of the head or in the side of the head, and you can see that there is red pouring down your face as you've been hit in the face by a tomato, depending on where you're from. And you look over and you can see sitting on one of the tables is a elven girl, probably around the same age as you, blonde, silvery and golden blonde hair that's tied up into a really high ponytail, with wearing a yellow, almost like a yellow suit, with a briefcase on the table, a wand in her hand, and a plate full of food, which she seems to be waving around, and the food is lifting up. And she just looks at you and goes, "Oh, Minerva, are you getting your food and you're going to go sit on your own, are you?" And then there's a group of other people with her, a mixture of boys and girls and other different species and all of that, who are sort of stood around there, and they're all laughing, pointing at you as you are currently queuing up. You can hear from behind you that in the queue there's a few people that are sort of snickering at that comment, and a few people in front. The people in front, well, the person directly in front of you, who is a dwarven boy, you have seen him a few times. You tend to queue up directly behind him nearly every day. He's younger than you by a few years, or at least you think he is. He's a dwarf. It's very hard to tell because he's got almost like a full set beard already. So, but he's currently picking bits of tomato out of the back of his hair and washing it off of his, sort of wiping it off of his jacket that he's got on at the minute. Just shakes his head and carries on walking forward, and grabs his bag and walks off.
Josh, I know we literally decided before the start of this recording, spoilers, but can you remind me the name of this girl?
Yep. So her name is Carissa Goldmellow. She is from a very wealthy family. The Goldmellows are a group of merchants that operate out of Abercathis and trade all over the continent, and they even trade with the Tarragon Isles, where the Tarragon Imperium is. Very, very connected family, and you've known Carissa for the time, pretty much the entire time that you've been here, and she considers herself to be one of the upper class people. There's not many people here who basically consider themselves to be better than other people, but she's one of them.
Mm-hmm. And the dwarven boy in front of me, do I know him? Do I actually know him, or is he just a guy I recognise because he's always in the queue?
I think because of the amount of times that you've queued up in front of him, sometimes he's with a friend, sometimes he's not. You would know that his name is Eric.
Not Eric, Eric.
Not Eric, Eric.
Eric, okay.
Eric.
Yeah, okay, cool. So in response to the tomato throat and all the teasing, I don't know what Clarissa was expecting. But after the shock of being hit in the face and probably it hurting her eye quite a lot, she'll clear the tomato and spot the remains on Arik as well. And we'll pull out a little handkerchief. Oh, I'm so sorry. I got some of my tomato on you. Are you all right there? It'll clean up all right, I'm sure.
No, I'm fine. It's not the first time you've gotten a bit of your tomato on me. That's fine.
Terribly sorry.
That's fine. And he turns, looks at you, can see how bad it is on your face, looks towards them, rolls his eyes, turns back to the table, grabs a bag that has your name on it, and he hands it to you. I'd get out of here before she starts throwing more stuff. You can see that she's waving, Carissa is now waving her wand around, and there's more food. Some of the food from some of the people that she's sitting at the table begins lifting up, and she's starting to pepper other people in the queue with it. So she's not, there's like a banana that's hit somebody in the side of the head. There's an apple that's gone into somebody else's and knocked them on the floor. And there doesn't seem to be anybody who's looking to stop her from doing it, and she's rearing up another tomato in your direction.
Cool. I think as Arik has finished talking, Elodie will sort of nod and turn to Clarissa and call across the room. Nice try, Clarissa. Your accuracy is getting better. It's not 100% though. You still caught Arik.
The tomato stops in the air. She gives you a look of, she's just giving you daggers at that comment, and you watch as the tomato itself begins to wither and mold, and then she flings it straight at you, and it hits you square in the chest and just explodes all over your clothes unless you want to do something to stop it.
I was going to say, can I not try and like catch it or just sidestep or evade?
You can, yeah.
Yeah. She's made it moldy. I don't think I want to catch it moldy because I don't think it'd be good for throwing back. So I'm just going to try and neatly sidestep it.
Get you to do a dexterity saving throw.
Yes.
I say that because she doesn't have stats, so I can't roll to attack you.
Okay. First roll of the game.
Roll that dice.
Okay. That is an 18.
18. So you, as this rotten tomato is propelled towards you, you step out of the way of it. So just a gentle sidestep. It hits into a pan of boiling something, and the pan slips off of its burner. I'm going to call it. Yep. Josh knows.
Oh no, that's the technical term. It's war.
Yeah. And it spills some of the liquid inside. Looks like some sort of soup, not tomato soup, because that would just be.
Yeah, but you don't want a moldy tomato in your soup.
I definitely don't want that. Don't want that. But that spills over, and you watch as one of the dinner ladies runs over and goes, "Oh no!" and begins trying to lift it up, and it, she gets a bit stuck with it because it seems to be caught on something. And
is she like the other side of a counter, or can I easily help?
I would say where you're stood now, where the pre-packed lunches are, it's just a table, so you could easily, there's just a table that's next to the counter where people would go and get their own food and then pay for it, so you could just sort of slip in between if you wanted to get in and help.
Yeah, I think she'll nip in, she'll help the lady push the pot back up. Sorry about that. And we'll just like try and grab her lunch and just leave, not like pegging it, but just like smoothly walk out.
Head down and you walk out. You are thanked by the dinner lady as you leave, and you feel that somebody is watching you the entire time. And as you walk out of the doors, you can, where is it that you normally go when you want to eat your lunch? So anywhere in particular that gives you comfort, helps your brain work?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the library is always nice, but I imagine you can't eat food in there. So maybe there is maybe there's a quad that's in the like on the edge of the food hall. Maybe there's a bit that where you can go up a little bit of a hill, and there's a couple, like a seating area, and you can see a little bit more of the city and like the pyramid in the distance, and it's got a nice view.
Yeah. Okay. So you walk out, you take a right, you walk down a small little stone archway sort of corridor. There's pillars, but there's no walls, so you can see out into various parts of the university, the different departments that there are. And then you take another right, and you go up a set of stairs that leads into a seating area that a lot of the other students go to when they want to eat. And it's almost done like a garden area. There's loads of grass and trees. There's a small fountain in the middle that is constantly spitting out water of two different colors. It spits out blue water and it spits out green water. Not like a dirty green, but like almost like a luminescent green water. And they go down opposite sides of the fountain, and then both waters mix together in the actual main area of it. But it looks it's almost like when you go on holiday and you see like the crystal clear water, but there's just like little emerald green tints to it, and it gives off a perfect reflection. You can see there's a couple of students that are sitting around on that fountain who are eating their lunch, and there's one particular spot that you always go to that nobody else seems to go to, that is right, you have to go up another little set of steps. There's a couple of statues there, and the statues look like one of them's holding a book with a telescope in their hand, and the other one is holding a book and seems to be turning the pages. The one that's got the telescope itself is actually functional. You can go up to it and look through it if you want to. But the bench itself you can sit down at, and you can get a view of pretty much the entire city of Abercathis. You can see on your left is the Great Pyramid and the palace where the Great Library is, somewhere that you've not been to yet, although there is a school trip coming up for that.
Nice.
At some point within the next few days. You can see the harbour where there's loads of ships that are coming in, and ships out to sea and stuff. You can see everything. This is a very large city, and it's on different elevations, so there's different elements to the city that you can go to, and sometimes, depending on the weather, you can see the district where you were raised before you were sent to the school. And every now and then it can be a little bit cloudy there, because it's more of that district's more of an industrial district, so there's normally a few smog clouds and stuff that's covering over it. But today is a clear day, and you can see down there. You can't quite, like, it's not like I can see my house from here moment. It is you can see the district.
Yeah. I think she sits down and sort of takes a second to look at the view, and just sort of, it's a nice day, just a little smile. And then as she's unpacking her lunch, she will just sort of very quietly, under her breath, I know there's no one else right next to her, but it's still like the level of quiet. No, I know. No, she didn't hit me that hard. It's fine. Oh, it doesn't matter. No, I'll leave her be, and then maybe eventually she'll get bored and go away. Well, now I know exactly what you would do. Just enjoy the view, will you? And then she sort of catches a glimpse of the area where she grew up, and will just sort of take a moment. I wonder what they're up to now. And it is out loud, as if she is actually talking to someone else. And then she'll sort of shrug and start tucking in.
Yeah. you start tucking into your food, and you look out across the view, and you begin thinking of what people who may have lived in that district with you might be up to now. And every now and then you get this nagging feeling of, I could have done more. I could have done more. Could have really put her in her place. Really, really could have. But that feeling goes after a little while as you hear a rustle in the bushes from behind you. And as you turn, do you turn? Well, I should say, as you turn, do you turn to have a look to see the rustle in the bushes?
Yeah.
You turn around and you see, stepping out of the bushes, a gentleman wearing robes of a professor, standing at about a not so average 6 foot tall, human man, balding head, black hair, balding head, a small, very thinly trimmed goatee, piercing grey blue eyes, probably in his 40s or 50s. You know this gentleman to be Professor Giles, Professor Guile, because I didn't want to take Giles. Professor Giles.
Am I going to be the next Slayer?
Every generation there is a chosen one. Professor Guile, and he is also holding a paper bag, which you can see is a lunch bag, and he's got a book under his arm, and he's got spectacles that are riding down his nose, and he walks over and goes, hello there, Miss Caldwell, wasn't it?
Yes, sorry, Professor. Did you want to sit here? I can leave.
No, you're fine. I'm normally a little bit later to my lunch break, and it's normally my seating, normally where I sit. Normally all you students are in your next lessons. You're fine. I'll go sit over there. And he toddles off over there. You know him as like the professor of herbalism and all that sort of stuff. And he goes and he takes a seat on the wall, where just next to where the statues are. The statues and the wall on the other side of that, there's nothing. It's just a sheer drop down. But he sits on the edge and he's like, "Oh yes," unwraps it and pulls out a very like a huffer bun of meats and lettuce and stuff, and just starts tucking into a beef piece. Sorry?
What is a huffer bun?
You don't know what a huffer bun is?
No.
So, you know when you go into a bakery,
yeah.
You ask for like a roll, and you can get like a chicken.
I mean that's county specific.
That's normally what you do.
But
yeah. You go in and you say, "Can I have?"
And you ask for a balm cake, yeah.
A balm cake. You ask for like a chicken tikka roll or something, and you get it in like a burger bun.
Right.
It's not quite a burger bun, but it's like a burger bun. A huffer is like double the size of it.
Right. Okay.
Or at least that's what we call them where I'm from. So,
Sure.
Like you said, regional thing. So sorry for anybody who has no clue what I'm talking about, but it's a large.
We get the image. It's not wider than a subway, but not as long.
Oh yeah, it's round.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a foot long, but it's round.
It's a chuffing big balm cake.
Chocking big balm cake, and he takes a bite out of it. But you think the size of this thing, you want to be taking a bigger bite out of it, but he just takes little nibbles out of it. And he opens a book out and he begins flicking through it as he's eating. He's holding this thing in one hand and he's in the paper and he's just eating it. He's just reading through the book.
I love that you said that this guy is like late 40s, early 50s, but you're performing him as if he's like in his 80s.
He's had a hard life. Very hard life.
I think Minerva is just like quietly entertained by this, and sort of, yeah, she doesn't let out a full giggle, but there's just that little like behind her sandwich is a bit of a smirk.
He takes a few more bites. You'd think he'd eaten the whole thing by now, but he's probably not even eaten a quarter of it. And he puts the roll back into his paper bag and pushes his spectacles up, closes his book and has a little look around over the surroundings and looks back to you. Miss Caldwell, how are you finding your herbalism studies at the moment?
Oh, fascinating. Yes, I found the chapter that we explored last week on remedies was particularly interesting.
Oh, good. Being as you're here, I have a couple of after school sessions that I have coming up, and if you'd like to brush up some extra skills, I have a few other students who are taking part in it as well. If you're interested, you're very talented at it, and I think that's something that the university would like to nurture. If you're interested.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you. I would have to consult my schedule. I do have archery practice a lot of the time after classes, but no, if there's extra credit to be had, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, counts towards extra credit. Come see me after your next after classes today or after your next archery lesson. I'm normally in the office until quite late. Anyway, I would just like to point out that you have a bit of your lunch on your face.
Oh, excuse me.
No
None of you
worries.
tell me about that. Sorry.
No worries. And he goes into a bag. He goes into a pouch that's on his side, and he pulls out some like what look to be like little, almost like tea leaves, but not in tea. But then he walks over to you and goes, "Do you mind?"
That depends on what you're going to do.
Oh, it's a little bit of herbalism, little bit of magic. I'm just going to sprinkle this on you.
For what purpose?
To get rid of the mark.
Oh, is it not just a bit of food? Can I have a little pocket mirror that I can...
Yeah, you have a look. Your face, almost half of your face is completely covered in tomato.
Oh, I thought I got all of that off. I'll be fine. She'll just like grab the handkerchief that she used for Arik before and sort of try and clean it off. I completely forgot.
No, if you find, I'll tell you what. If you find it a little bit more, just sprinkle this on it, and he sort of gives you the pouch, and he's still got some of the tea leaves in his hand. Gives you the pouch, and he goes, it does this. And pulls his sandwich out, dabs it on his robe, so there's like a big mustard stain on it, and then he sprinkles the tea leaves on it. He watches the tea leaves touch the stain. They glow the same color as it, and then it all just falls off like dust, and it's completely clean.
Oh, that's actually incredibly useful. We wear white a lot here, so stains are difficult.
Reflects the sun.
Thank you. That's very kind.
You're more than welcome. I'm going to go back to my classroom now. Like I said, come see me afterwards, and after class today, and we can have a little look over. Oh, your scarf seems to have slipped on your head. Your hair's showing a little bit. I know you like to have your hair covered.
It's practical. Keeps the sun off.
Yes, no, that's fine. And he nods and walks off. Walks down the stairs and disappears.
I love that you've just invented oxygen bleach in this world.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Cool. She will finish her sandwich.
You finish your sandwich. And from the way that you've explained Minerva before, you seem to be very much on a schedule. Things are timed specifically. So I would say as soon as you finish your lunch, the bell rings, ready for next lesson. So you're able to go. Your next lesson, what do you reckon your next lesson would be?
Ooh, fun. Okay, well, we already knew that know that she does like botany and archery. I mean, she's not like mechanically hugely magically inclined. But I think there's the fundamental study of magics and the weave. So she doesn't she doesn't like cast magic herself, but she she understands the theoretical basis of it. But yeah, I mean, let me have a look. One more. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at my skill proficiencies. Maybe it's history.
History, okay. So history is the next lesson that you are on your way to. The professor of history is an elderly dwarven gentleman who goes by the name of Professor Greenleaf.
Mm-hmm.
He is quite strict, and he's the sort of person who has one of those really monotonous tones to their voice that can almost send you to sleep when they talk to you. But the subjects that he talks about are quite interesting, so you go there, you go to his class, and today's lesson, funnily enough, is about arcane history and the history of the magics of the world. And you go to sit down. The classroom itself is very small in terms of the number of students that are here. The classroom itself is quite large. It's almost like an auditorium sort of size. But there's probably no more than 10 students in here, including yourself. Professor Greenleaf is stood at the front with a large blackboard, and he has a wand in his hand that he's moving around, and it's writing on the board as you enter in. You're not late or anything. He just likes to get his notes prepared before the lesson itself actually begins. And as you sit down, he's got his back turned to all of you, and he goes, right now, so today's lesson is about the history of the arcane. Can anybody tell me where magic originated from? Anyone?
I nearly put my hand up to answer the Faerunian answer of that, but that's not what's happening here.
It's at this point that he turns around to face you and he goes, "Of course you can't tell me because I've not told you yet." Oh yes, little bit of a joke there for you, just to set the mood. Anyway, the origins of magic, and the lesson goes on for an hour. Unless you'd like to know the origins of magic, the lesson just ends.
I mean, I feel like I lore-wise, I would, but not if you're going to teach it in that voice for an hour.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Actually, no, I do enjoy the voice. Yeah, I think like throughout the lesson, Minerva is just very much like heads down, focused, taking notes. If he makes a joke and the rest of the classmates laugh, she will sort of softly laugh to join in. And if he makes a joke and no one else does, then she won't. It's very much just like head down, blend in, crack on.
You have your head down, you take notes. The general gist of magic in the world is going off of what is in the history books. There is the creation of magic came from an element known as ether, or aether, depends on how you want to say it. And aether, and through the manipulation of this substance, the elements were created. The magical elements being fire, air, earth, water, nature, darkness, and light. Those are the 7 elements of the world. Nobody knows. Aether itself is something that can't be tapped into, as far as this particular professor knows. But the other elements are widely used throughout the world for various different things. There are known schools of magic, so evocation, transmutation, necromancy, all of those sort of things are present, and there are magics that are split into those categories, but the world itself focuses more on the elemental side of things. So if there's an evocation spell, it's probably a fire spell sort of thing, or fire magic and all of that sort of stuff. So the elementals take precedence over the schools in the D&D sense. But there's pretty much as he gets through within the hour, because one of the 10 students that isn't you in this room just so happens to be a particular golden blonde elven girl named Carissa.
Definitely not Regina George.
Definitely not Regina George. I was going for Regina George and Alicia Silverstone's character from Clueless was what I was going for. Sort of mixing them together.
Is it like I've not watched Clueless for a long time. I thought her character in Clueless was a little bit nicer than that.
She was a little bit nicer, but I was going for more like the aesthetic with the yellow suit. I almost said yellow checkered suit, and I was like, that would just give it away if I did that.
It's very much Heather's vibes.
Yes. But she's sitting probably right at the back, right on the top seats, far away from everybody else. She's got her legs up on the seats in front of her, and every now and then she just makes a snide comment that the lesson's boring. She's snoring out loud. She isn't actually asleep, but she's just doing the noises. Every now and then when the professor goes to pick up a piece of paper, you'll see that it just shifts off of the table and he has to go over and pick it up and put it down. He doesn't seem to confront her over any of this at all. You would know, having known her for as long as you have, that her family puts a lot of funding into the university, so she's pretty much allowed to get away with anything, and she knows that.
Yeah. And it's at that point where it's at that level where everyone's just like, well, what's the point? Right? Like, yeah, it's really annoying and it's disruptive and I'm trying to crack on with stuff, and she's like stopping that at every possible moment, but there's no point in fighting it, because what are you going to do?
Yeah.
As she can.
You'll get a couple of times over the hour, you've also gotten some wet bits of paper that have hit you in the back of the head. She's not been chewing anything up or spitting it at you. She's just been getting bits of paper, soaking them wet, turn them into the pellets and then lobbing them at the back of your head. Not any of the other students, just you in particular. You can feel some of them run down the back of your neck and down under your clothing and get sort of stuck in the center of your back and stuff, and it's not very comfortable at all. But towards the end of the lesson, Professor Greenleaf goes, "Oh, right, so I forgot what his voice was. Anyway, oh yes, right. So a little bit of a quiz for all of you. And he puts his hand into a hat and he sort of shakes it around. He goes, I'm going to draw a name from the hat, and that name is going to answer the question that I have. The name is... unwraps it. You just look as his eyes go wide. He closes them and looks up past you. Carissa, can you please tell me what the 7 magical elements of the world are? And he folds his the paper back up and puts it down. Carissa stops and looks down at him with a look of bewilderment and goes, right, I mean, there's the red one, fire, there's that one, and then there's the blue one, air, then there's the green one, which is gas, and then there's, I don't know, she just goes in the end, and the professor goes, unfortunately, that's not correct. Would anybody else like to... He's gone into Professor Giles' voice instead. Would anybody else like to Would anybody else like to tell us what the 7 elements are? Miss Caldwell, would you? What are the 7 elements?
Oh, I think previous to that, like, Minerva has been sat at her desk looking at her notes where they are all, like, written down, but just not saying anything. And she would not have put her hand up, but because she's been specifically called out, we'll sort of fire, earth, air, water, nature, darkness, and light.
Very good, very good. Yes, that's exactly correct. Those are the 7 elements, and where do those elements come from?
Ether.
Exactly, fantastic. You get a golden star. I don't give out golden stars, but you can say that you got a golden star. And he looks at his watch and the bell rings. He's like, oh, thank God. Right, you can all go now. He's digging himself into a hole that he wanted to get out of desperately.
I don't think she's removed the clods from her hair. I think she's just left them there. Just trying not to acknowledge.
That's fair. The bell rings, you're able to leave. It is the end of school now. Or the end of classes, should I say, because it's not really school. But yes, at least it's the end of your classes. You've now got some extracurricular things like archery that you can go to now. And you've also got Professor Guile you can go see for these extracurricular herbalism lessons if you'd like to. Where would you like to go?
I think she will first make her way to the bathrooms and check to see if they are like completely empty.
Yeah, so as you go to walk out of the classroom, you can see that there is a group of not children, there's a group of other students that are outside, and you recognise a lot of these as the students that were sat at the table with Carissa at the lunchtime, but they don't say anything to you. A few of them give you like a snickering look, maybe a little bit of a giggle, and you might hear one of them go, Minerva, but...
Sorry.
Minerva. But that's it. You're able to go down towards the toilets.
She'll just not register them. She'll just sort of walk past with a sort of gently smiling, placid face, just like...
And in your head, you just hear, no. No, you don't hear that. But you go towards the toilets. You have a little look inside. The toilets seem empty. There's nobody. None of the cubicle doors are locked or anything like that. So there is plumbing here. But you can go in. There's plenty of mirrors and sinks and everything around, but the toilet itself is empty.
Cool. I think she'll head to one of the mirrors and then finally start pulling the little clods of paper out of her hair. And I think if you think this is a good time for it, Josh, I was thinking in the mirror we can see what Minerva sees, which is everyone else. Yeah. There as well. So no one else can see this. If anyone else were to walk into the bathroom and look in the mirror, they would just see Minerva. But she sees in her reflection, as she's doing her hair, a menagerie of bird people around her. There is a swallow, an owl, a phoenix, and a peacock, just all sort of bickering and passing comment. And there's like the owl is going, oh yes, you did very well in the class there, dear. You named all of the. I was there, wishing you luck on it, and you knew it anyway. Yes, you should have spoken up sooner. And the peacock is they're going, oh, please take these clods out of your hair immediately. Oh, it's so disgusting. No. And then I think the swallow and the phoenix are having an argument about like how best to get revenge. And the swallow's like, oh no, we just need to like just prove her wrong and just embarrass her, and that's the way to do it. Just knock her on her ass like the fool that she is. And the Phoenix is just like, no. The only way is to prove permanently that you're better than her. And there's just all of this going on, and she's just sort of again like sighs a little bit and is just pulling the clods out of her hair.
I've just made a connection. These are the emotions in Inside Out, aren't they?
A little bit.
A little bit. Oh, brilliant. As you're pulling these bits out of your hair and all of these other voices are going on, you can hear them bickering and arguing and trying to decide what's best and what you should do and trying to tell you how you should act and all of that sort of stuff. You get that feeling again. Again, it's not somebody talking to you, but it's a separate feeling where it's like, yeah, I could have done a bit more. I could have stood up to her. I could have, but was it worth it? Would it be worth it for me to do that? Do I need to stoop to her level? I don't know. And as that happens, the door to the bathroom slams open and in walks Carissa with her horde of minions, as we'll call them. Again, a face like thunder as she looks towards you. Oh, here's Minerva. Do you find it funny upstaging me in front of the professors like that, in front of other students? I'm better than you.
I was asked to answer a question. You dropped these. Would you like them back?
She slaps your hand and they sort of scatter across and go underneath the cubicles. No, I don't want them back. I threw them at you for a reason.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll have them back, please. I'll keep them for my collection.
Pick them up then.
She will.
As you bend down to pick them up, you get a foot that leans on your side and pushes you over. You fall into the floor, and you get that feeling in your head again. It's like, oh, you're pushing it. You're really pushing it. Separate from the other voices, this one it's not a voice. Again, it's a feeling that's going, really don't want to do that.
Minerva has spent a very long time masking. So I think even in this moment, like, this is not the first time Clarissa has bullied her. I think she wouldn't say it out loud, but she is starting to think, which one of you is that? And I think she's just like she kneels on the floor for a little bit longer than she probably would, because she's just sort of almost like listening and trying to hone in on this extra impulse and figure out where that's coming from, because that's less usual.
I think the other we'll call them emotions for the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other emotions are, they don't know what you're talking about. They don't hear that feeling that you're having. They don't hear it as a voice or anything. This is something that's coming from deeper within you, but they can't hear it. And as you're on the floor and these students are laughing and Carissa's laughing at you, she pulls her wand out and she begins waving it around, and you watch as water begins bobbling up out of the toilets and sort of forming into a giant ball above you. And then she just clicks her fingers and you get toilet water that just drops.
Can I make another dex check to try and like get out the way so it flings it at herself instead?
You can try and redirect it if you want to, yeah.
I don't know. I can't magically redirect it, but I could try and like, if she's on the floor and sort of thinking, but then clocks if the water pulls her out of her thoughts, and she just sort of stays in place, like ready to move at the last second. Is my intention.
Yeah, make a dexterity saving throw. You can roll it with advantage for reasons.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 24.
24. So as you watch this this big ball of toilet water appear above your head, the voices all go quiet. None of them give you any form of advice of what to do. And as it begins to fall, you get that feeling again. And it's like, move, get out of the way, listen, get out of the way. And you don't know where it comes from, but you get this like lightning, but it's almost like your body is instantly filled with intense adrenaline. You push. What type of footwear do you wear? It's a very odd question to be asking at this point. But do you wear heels, or are you wearing shoes, sandals?
At this point, it would be sandals, but they're like practical, firmly attached sandals. They wouldn't be just like flip-flops or anything like that.
Yeah. So they're proper sturdy type sandals. You dig the sole part of those into the tile work, like where the cement sort of bit goes, and you use that to push yourself. And because the floor is a little bit wet anyway, because there is like right at the end of the bathroom, there is showers and everything where people go after sports and stuff. So the floor is a little bit damp in places. You push yourself off and you slide across as this water erupts on the floor. The eruption, because it's not hit you, because it's hit hard floor, it splashes up the front of Carissa and just about catches the bottom of your feet as you are able to use the momentum to push yourself backwards and almost acrobatically flip to get up. It's not like a showy is like doing a full somersault to get up sort of thing, but you're able to do it in one swift motion, so the water just sort of laps up onto your feet and then disappears and you're stood up again. Clarissa, now wet, her hair matted down the front of her face, her very nice and tidy yellow suit is now a checkered suit. Ew. She doesn't look very nice, and she just looks at you. She goes, oh, you're going to pay for that, you little bitch. And she puts her wand up in the air again, and you watch as electricity begins coursing across it. Luckily, her wand didn't get wet, so it's not going to electrocute her.
Oh, that is lucky, isn't it?
It's lucky, isn't it? I mean, it's just, if it's plot armor. And she goes to fling her arm back. I'm doing this left-handed, which feels really weird to me. And she thrusts it forward, and lightning shoots out of the wand. That's the word. Thank you. My brain just went. Shoots out of the wand. I was tempted
to just let you keep doing the dance, though.
Shoots out towards you. And then everything goes dark for a minute. There's no flash of pain. There's no sense of falling to the floor. There's nothing. Everything just goes black. And it feels like it's gone black for a while. You're not 100% sure on yourself. You feel like you've withdrawn within yourself. And you can hear the echoes of voices, and there's different colours in this dark void that you're in. There's different colours that are popping up, the different colours of the different emotions, as we're going to call them, that keep popping up every now and then as they talk.
She'll call out to them, like trying to grasp onto anything. Celeramus, Perceptia?
You're
Any
trying
response?
to reach out to them, and you can hear that they're calling your name, but they can't hear you talking to them. But you can see that there's something grey behind you, like a big light that's almost all-encompassing of the other colours. This big grey light is pulsating like a heartbeat and is sort of overshadowing you in a way. And you can see that these lights that are flicking and flashing are calling to this greyer light, and they're calling your name to it, but it doesn't seem to be responding. And that feeling, you get a real intense feeling of loneliness before everything begins to blur and your eyes open, and you are not in the bathroom anymore. You are laying down in a bed in a room that's very familiar to you. You're in the infirmary. You're not quite sure what you're doing here, how you got here. And as you look over to the side, you can see right down the other end on a bed is a girl, you think. They're quite covered up, but you can see their arms are hanging out of the covers, and they've got bandages wrapped around them and there's blood that's been soaking through the bandages. And there's an instant hint of realization as you see on the chair a yellow suit that you recognize. And I think at that point, a little bit early, but I think at that point, we're going to go for a little break.
Great.
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 Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Go take a short rest. We will see you in a little bit. Go fill up your drinks and do any other things that you need to do, but we will see you soon, okay? Goodbye. Welcome back, everybody. We have had our short rest. We have stocked up on new drinks. I am finishing off my blackcurrant from before, and I also have a non-sponsored fizzy drink as well. Nat, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm very boring. I'm on the tail end of a throat infection, so I have water. Hydrate, folks.
Hydrate. If you don't hydrate, Scarlet comes and finds you.
Really? I'd say that's
Hydrate.
an incentive to not hydrate for a lot of people.
This is true.
Like, if I don't drink water, Scarlet's going to turn up and be like, oh, you should drink that. That would be lovely. I'd like to see Scarlet. Scarlet's great.
Okay. I'll send Scarlet your way.
Okay. the hydration hag will come and tell you to drink water.
We used to call her the hydration enforcer, but the hag of hydration sounds even better. Not because Scarlet
Not
is
in a nasty
hag.
way.
Not in
like,
a nasty way.
Hag in a positive, loving way.
Yeah. Scarlet's character in Blades in the Dark is called Hag, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Hera is like hag-like as well, and all of that sort of stuff. So
hags are positive.
Yeah. I mean, look at Amaryllis.
Exactly. Love a good hag.
Love a good hag. Right. Anyway, in the first half of our Origins episode, we met Minerva Caldwell, who is currently studying at the Abercathis University, studying various different things from archery and herbalism and all of that, and all the things in between, and history. We learnt that Minerva has been sent here by her parents and is sort of been left here. Parents have gone off to do something else, not quite sure what, and Minerva is a bit of a loner, should we say?
I was going to say, what kind word are you going to come out with here, Josh? What
lovely word?
Flattering, complimentary word? No, she's a loner. Yeah,
she's a loner, hard-working loner.
Yeah.
Who has caught the eye of an elven pupil of the same age called Carissa Goldmellow. Carissa is taking to bullying Minerva just a little bit, but Minerva you do get your own back a couple of times, and you're able to sidestep a rotten tomato, and you're able to correct some of Carissa's historical knowledge to the point where you were cornered in one of the bathrooms, and in the process of being bullied, beaten up, everything around you went dark as Carissa was throwing a lightning from you from staff. Purple lightning, looked like it may or may not have been a witch bolt of some description.
We're not that high level.
No, it is a first level spell though.
Is it? Oh yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So everything went dark. You could see the various different colors of the different emotions that are within you, trying to call out your name, but they couldn't hear you. Instead, they were conversing with another figure, a light of a grayish hue. And as you awoke, you found yourself within the infirmary. No wounds on you whatsoever. And as you looked out to one of the other beds, you could see a girl, very heavily bandaged, with blood soaking through the bandages. And the only way that you could tell who this person was, or is, because they're not dead, or are they? Is the yellow suit that is draped over one of the chairs, as Carissa has been hospitalized, infirmarized, injured, very badly injured. And we go back in with one of the nurses coming up to you as you've just woken up, going, oh dear. Not oh dear as in oh dear. She's calling you dear. Dear, tapping her, trying to get a flannel on your head. Oh, it's good to see you're awake. How are you doing?
Fine, I think. I don't remember what happened.
Oh, that's not good.
How did I get in here? What happened?
You were found in the bathrooms along with, and looks over to where Carissa is currently laying in bed. Carissa was horrifically injured, covered in lots of cuts and strange wounds. And you were also laying on the floor, quite close to her, in a big puddle of water. All of the other students had run out screaming, saying something about you lashing out at her, or something. That's just what we heard. One of the professors is going to be coming along in a moment to talk to you.
Am I like in my clothes? Have I been put in like hospital gown or anything, or?
You're in a hospital gown. Your clothes are next to you because they had to check you over for injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
Your clothes are next to you. You're in a nightgown. Your headscarf has been removed so that they could check your head for injuries, and that is also next to you. So your hair is, however long your hair is draping down.
If she sat up in the bed, it'll reach the bed itself. It's quite long. Yeah. She'll sort of, at a loss for anything else to do while the nurse is fussing over her, will sort of tuck her hair back and reach for the scarf, and just sort of be eyeing Carissa's body. Is she?
She's heavily injured. She's currently in a magically induced coma, because that's a thing that I've just invented. She's in a magically induced coma to help recovery with her injuries while healing magic is performed. One of the professors is getting some herbs together and everything to patch up some of the wounds. So that will be the professor that will be coming to speak to you in a moment.
All right. I don't know what happened. I promised you. I don't remember a thing.
Talk to the professor when he comes. I must get on. Is there anything I can get for you? Would you like a drink or some food or something?
Just some water, I think.
Okay, right. I'll go get you that. And she toddles off and comes back a few moments later with a tray with some water, and you can see that she's also given you a little what is like a little bowl of sugar cubes. Take some of those if you feel that you need a bit of a boost. If you need anything, just ring the bell on your table, and I'll come and check on you. Okay?
What do you mean a bit of a boost?
It's you've been out for. It's the next day, I'm afraid. You've been out for almost 12 hours, so your body, if you need any sugar or anything like that to give you some energy or something, then please.
Thank you. Is she walking away after this?
Yeah.
I think as she does, we'll sort of reach for one of the cubes. Have a drink of the water, reach for one of the cubes, and as she's looking at it, we'll sort of. There's no one else around?
No one else around. You can see to the right of where you're laying, where the nurse has just disappeared into. She's gone into almost like an office area, and you can see that there is another nurse in there at the minute, and they begin having a conversation, although they're quite far away, so you can't hear it. And then on the left side, going down towards where the door is and where Carissa's bed is, there's nobody. It's just Carissa.
When I think that she's out of earshot, we'll just incredibly quietly, but out loud, speak to the menagerie. If are they there? As I woke up, are they also
You
there?
can feel they've been awake the entire time. They didn't fall asleep, or they weren't unconscious, or whatever condition you were in. They've been there the entire time. And I'd say they're quite worried.
Yeah. What happened? Do any of you know?
Oh, hang on. I'm not doing their voices. You're doing their voices. Sorry, I nearly did it then.
Yeah, I mean, you can, in this situation, I'm totally fine for you to answer in there, but I can tell you the voices that each one uses.
The general gist is what they tell you is they all felt this overwhelming feeling of protection, and then this thing, something came over you, and you lashed out at Carissa and pretty much clawed at her, but not just with your hands. They're not quite sure what it was, but these strange things sort of came up over and started clawing at her as if they were like extra arms or something. It had reached over and was starting to, like, spectral things were trying to claw at her as well, but they couldn't get a vision of what it was that was going at her. It was all like a bit of a blur for them. It was as if they explained to you that it was as if they were looking, whereas normally when they looking at everything that's going on around them through your eyes, they can see it clear as day. This felt like there was like a haze over it, and it was like they were trying to look through a thin mist, so they couldn't quite make out everything that was happening, is the general gist of what they'll say.
Uh-huh. It wasn't one of you. I don't understand. I don't know what that could have been. Claws? Yeah, she'll just sit and think on it, I guess. But horrified, staring at Carissa that it was her that had done that. Like, she was a biatch, but she didn't deserve that.
Yeah, you feel horrified. But then another feeling creeps in. Satisfaction. Pride. And for the first time, you hear another voice that you don't recognize. I think she got what she deserved, don't you?
I don't think anyone deserved that.
Oh, with the way that she's been treating you. I think she did. And I think you think that deep down.
You're not one of my usual friends.
No, I'm not.
Do I get a name? Who are you?
You do get a name. Aravis.
Aravis.
Yes. At least that's the name you gave me a long time ago.
Like the dove.
That would explain why my colour is a bit grey, yes. Grey to white.
How come I've never heard you... Wait, no, you said I gave you the name? I don't remember you.
Let's just say I was suppressed for a long time. Now that I'm awake, would that be the correct term? We'll go with awake. Now that I'm awake, be expecting to have flashes of stuff that's happened in the past, stuff that you may have wanted to forget.
Can the rest of the emotions, the menagerie, have they been blocked out by this, or are they all still here?
You can hear them talking to you, trying to get your attention, but it seems that this voice has opened a sort of like a one-way channel where it's just the two of you.
There's just like in the background, there's a very muffled like, now listen here, old chap, this is not on. Minerva, come to now. Yeah, this is not the time. Come along. The professor's going to be here in a minute. Minerva.
I could let them in to the conversation if you'd like. They are rather chatty, aren't they?
I think if you're going to be sharing the space, then you ought to. It's not just me you're talking to.
Okay. And you feel like a warm sensation go over your body, like you do when you drink a really hot drink on a really cold day.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of bubbles up from the center of your chest and just expands over your body. And the almost dullness of the voices, sort of like a pop, it pops, and instead of it being all blurred and hazy, you now get full HD. all of them coming at you.
Dolby Atmos suddenly kind of pops in.
And they're talking at you, calling your name, and then eventually they all stop in a unified gasp, and they start going, "Who's that? Who's that?" as they look towards your new friend.
I think Ember would storm over immediately. You! What on earth do you think? You have the right to bust in here and take over our dear friend. If she was going to do anything like this, she should do it on her own accord. And the rest will be, oh, yes.
Oh, I apologize. But she did do it on her own accord.
What? No, This wasn't me. I've been trying to not do anything. That's the point.
And because of all of the times that you have tried to not do anything, I was able to do something, and I am you.
And then Perceptia is going to sort of put a wing around Minerva. It's all right, dear. We'll figure this out soon enough. This Aravis interloper doesn't have to have total control, do you? We can learn how to share.
Oh, no, I don't. wish for total control. I just wish for you to be your true self. And at this particular point, I needed to step in. I have no intention of doing it again. Don't worry.
I can't. Not here.
Why not?
I mean, if you think what she was doing to me was bad enough before, if any of them knew about, we'll just sort of look around at the birds. Do you not think it'd be 10 times worse? I learned a long time ago people are very uncomfortable about it, and it's best to just keep it to myself.
Oh, yes. Mummy and Daddy. Ah, lovely people. Especially what they did. Ah.
Send me away to school?
Oh, no, don't worry. That will come. Don't worry, that will come. It's something that you need to learn on your own. I've been in the back seats for long enough. I'm more in the forefront now, as you can tell, because we're now able to talk to each other. But I don't intend to intervene too much. I want to guide you more than anything. And they have a different appearance to that of the others that are within your mind. Less bird-like, although there are still bird-like features there, but they look more like you do. Except for their hair is not in a scarf, and their hair is completely golden, and it drapes all the way down almost to the floor. And the wings that they have are dove-like, but they are different shades of gold, 3 different shades, gold, grey and black. The tips of the wings look like which are black, look like they're more molted and torn and almost necrotic in nature, and it fades up to the brilliant gold of the tips of the wings, but you can see there are claws on those wings, on the what would be like the elbow piece. I don't know wings that way.
The wing elbow.
The wing elbows.
You've got a little wing elbow claw.
The wing bows.
The wing bows.
Yeah. But yes, she looks pretty much exactly like you do. Full golden eyes, full golden hair.
I think Alorim, who I can't remember if I did his voice before or not, but whilst everyone has been kind of fussing and glaring this person down, has been like standing in the background, and it's just like preening and going like, ugh. Well, they may look fancy, but their plumage is not all that. Nowhere near as good as mine. And it's just like the peacock tail just kind of bristles and fans out. It's like, it's weird because he's stood next to the hospital bed. And it's just one of those things where he's just carefully positioned so everything fits. It's like there's no clipping, there's no like fading through. They're just perfectly positioned so they don't break any edges of reality, I guess.
Yeah. They Aravis looks at them with a look that you find odd, because it's not a look that your face would normally give, but it's a very sarcastic, cocky eyebrow raise with a really deep side grin. They give your peacock friend a deep eye wink and then look back towards you. It seems our professor friend is just coming through the doors now.
You know, you can see the future?
No, he's literally coming through the door right now as the door opens and he walks through. Oh, I think it's time for us to disappear, don't you think, my friends?
She'll sit and put the scarf on. They never truly disappear, but it's like you said before, like the sound focus switches from these conversations to the real world.
Yeah, but you notice that Aravis does disappear, almost as if being pulled in like a light into you. The others stay around, and the sound dulls around their voices, but Aravis is gone.
Okay, she'll take just a second to sort of clock that, but will then sort of busy herself with fussing with the headscarf, pulling the covers up, and trying not to look at Carissa at this point.
Okay, so as the professor walks in, it's Professor Guile again. He is flanked by two armored people. You would know these as the security of the university, although they don't normally carry around much in terms of weaponry. Normally they have like sprays and, you know, dispel magic wands and all that sort of stuff. They're normally more of a defensive thing, but now they look like they are fully coated with shields and swords and everything. And he goes over to Carissa's bed first, pulls out a tub of what looks to be paste, and he puts that on the side of the table, on the side of her table, sorry. And as he goes to walk towards you, the nurse that you'd spoken to before comes out of the room and intercepts him. They're close enough to you for you to hear what they say, but the general gist of it is that I might as well do their voices. Professor Guile goes, I've bought some of the elf root paste from my office. If you apply that to Miss Goldmellow's wounds, that should have her healed up, and she should be able to come out of the coma by the end of the day, I reckon. Just make sure that you apply that twice before waking her up, and that should heal her wounds without too much scarring. And the nurse goes, thank you, Professor. Yes, we will get on that now. And as she beckons to the other nurse who comes out of the office, they both go to Carissa's bedside, pull the curtain across, and all of that's out of view. As they do that, the professor watches them do that and close the curtain, and then he turns towards you. Miss Caldwell, how are you feeling?
A little shaken, but fine, all things told.
Right, okay, so, I must admit I'm quite surprised by what has happened here. I did not expect this of yourself.
I don't know what happened. I'm really sorry. I blacked out. I don't remember a thing. I remember that she was being cruel, but I don't remember. I don't know what happened. I'm really sorry.
Right, well, there are going to be some very dire consequences for these actions.
I didn't do it.
I'm afraid all of the witness reports state otherwise. You're going to have to come with me, I'm afraid.
Well, I didn't mean to do it. I don't know what happened. I didn't have any weapons. I didn't have the ability to do whatever that was. You're not going to kick me out, are you? I can't. I have to be here. I'm not long from finishing anyway.
Unfortunately, with the severity of what has happened, and with the witness reports that we've received, your tenure here, I can't say anymore. Please, just when you are dressed and ready, please. I will wait outside for you. These 2 guards will be stationed here and will escort you out.
I think she'll just sort of silently nod in a bit of shock. Will I'm assuming they'll turn their backs while I get changed.
One of them will walk over and will pull the curtain across, but you can see their feet at the bottom of the curtain, but they've still got their back turned, but you know that they're really close.
Yeah. She will change, knowing that they're that close. She won't even talk to the others, who again harumphing and they have no right to kick us out of here. We did nothing wrong, and all of that. While she changes.
I actually agree with you, Peacock.
Even though Aravis has come back, she won't acknowledge it. She will just stay silent and just change. If her stuff is there, if her bag is there, she'll collect
it's all
it.
There.
And just sort of pull the curtain back and silently sort of stand next to them and wait.
Yeah. So you pull the curtain back open once you're fully dressed, and the guards look towards you and gesture for you to begin walking. You begin walking, and you are led out of the room. Just as you're led out of the room, the nurses come out from behind the curtain and pull the curtain across. And you can see that they're holding a lot of bloodied bandages in their hands. And Carissa, from what you can see, is now covered in clear, I say clear, white bandages. They don't look like they've got any blood stains or anything on them. Whatever the professor had given them to use seems to have done a good job. And as you walk out, 2 figures walk past you, but they don't pay any attention, both wearing very fine clothing, both female elves, both with same blonde hair. One of them looks to be slightly younger than Carissa, and the other one is a lot older with greying bits in their hair. You've never seen them, but you would assume that this is probably Carissa's mother and either a sister or cousin or something. But they rush into the room, into the infirmary, as the doors are shut, and you are led with the 2 guards and Professor Guile down into the teacher's department, the professor's department, where the head teacher resides. However, you aren't taken into the head teacher's office. You are instead taken into Professor Guile's office. The guards stand at the door. Professor Guile looks at them and goes, "Everything's fine. You may leave. Let the head teacher know that I will be dealing with this from now on." And they nod, turn around, and shut the door as they leave. Right.
Professor, I don't understand.
May I call you Minerva?
Mm-hmm.
Please, take a seat. And he gestures for a seat at his desk. And he walks round.
Then take it.
Yeah, he walks around the other side, and you can see that he begins pouring some tea out of a pot that's been boiling. Looks like it's like it's like in science lab where you've got the Bunsen burners and the like the bit on top. He looks like he's done that, and he pours some tea in and hands some over to you. And he sits down with a pot of it, a cup of it himself. Puts some of takes some sugar cubes up and puts it inside. Puts an obscene amount in there and stirs it, and then sprinkles some leaves out of one of his many pouches that he carries in there as well. Well, I have to say, Minerva, it's a shame what has happened. There's great potential in you, this is not allowed to leave this room, but if I'm perfectly honest with you, I think the part of me feels that Carissa kind of deserves what happened. Probably not to the extent that it was done, but with the way that she's treated a lot of the people in this facility, she was bound to get her comeuppance eventually.
Not like this.
No, I probably would have taken
that.
No. Not that severely, no. But what has happened has happened. Now, the reason why I haven't taken you to the headmaster's office is it's more for your protection. I don't know if you noticed, but Carissa's mother and sister went to visit her. Her father is currently in the headmaster's office, and if he had seen you at all, I'd dread to think what he might have done. So the headmaster has given me permission to oversee the consequences of your actions is the best term to put it. Now, he moves over to one, sort of puts his cup down, leans down towards a drawer, opens it and pulls out a folder. Now, this is your record, your school record, as it were. And he puts it down and he unwinds it and opens it out and he begins flicking through it. Now, obviously, I've only ever taught you for botany classes and basic herbalisms and all of that sort of stuff, so I'm not very well versed in your other studies. Well, I wasn't until 12 hours ago. And I have to say, your grades, your predicted grades, and the grades that you've earned going through this university have been very impressive. And it would be a shame to lose a talent like yours because of a incident. I'm going to put down that it was a playground scrap. Your record is pristine, so the punishment won't be as dire as it probably should be. And with Carissa's connections, I don't see any sort of punishment befalling her anyway for her part in the bullying. I will say now that the witnesses that did come forward to explain what had happened did say that Carissa had been targeting you over the recent months. So, unfortunately, as you well know, there's not much we can do about that. Now, what do you remember about what happened?
I was in the bathroom, picking out wads of paper from my hair, which she had put in there from arcane history class. They all came in, Carissa and the rest of her friends started. She was cross because she couldn't answer a question in class, and I didn't offer the answer, but Professor Greenleaf asked me, so I answered. And then she felt embarrassed by that, so she came and she accused me. She pushed me. She didn't push me. I was on the floor picking up the wads of paper, and she tried to attack me with water from the toilet, which I dodged out of the way from. And then it looked like she was going to attack me again, magically. That's all I remember.
You watch as he is listening to you intently with his hands interlocked and his chin resting on it. You can see just hovering over his left shoulder there is a big scroll of paper, and there's a pen that seems to be writing down. The pen stops every now and then and dips itself into the tea that he's been drinking and then goes back to writing again.
Multi-purpose tea.
Multi-purpose tea. It's got a bit of an inky taste to it.
She's been sipping it. It's a bit like, okay then.
Whatever floats your boat. He listens to you intently. From the reports, from the witness statements, she went to throw a lightning-based spell at you. That's correct, yes?
I think so. I from the incantation she was doing as she was twirling her wand, I believe so. I don't cast magic myself, so I couldn't tell you exactly.
Okay. And it was at this point that the other students said that your face darkened. The strange, almost spectral wings protruded from your back, and you lunged at her, clawing at her with your hands and the claws on your wings.
She looks at her hands and she's got like practical short nails for archery. And she's like, I could not claw anyone with these.
Yes. Whatever it was that happened caused significant damage to Carissa. As I said, we do not want to lose your talent, so the consequences of your actions will be that you will continue to study at the school. However, you will not be allowed to study in a public environment with other students. Your lessons will be taught in a one-on-one environment with one teacher who is perfectly capable of looking after themselves should another outburst happen.
Honestly, that actually sounds ideal.
I thought you might say that. I am the teacher that has been designated to be your one-on-one instructor. So, as is what is going to happen, we will meet in this room every day. We will do all of your lessons here, and you will see out the rest of your term, the rest of your time at this school, at this university here. Unfortunately, there is no leeway on this. There is no, you will be allowed back into the rest of the school, rest of the university, sorry. It's just the way it has to be, I'm afraid.
Can I still eat my lunches on the hill?
You can, but you'll have to have a different lunchtime schedule to the rest of the class, rest of the school, university.
Again, that actually sounds quite nice. Professor, I don't mean this to be insulting. You are an excellent herbalism teacher. Are you qualified to teach the other classes?
As part of your... botany is my speciality. I am versed in other lessons. Obviously, one of the lessons that you will no longer be able to partake in is archery, for obvious reasons. Not safe to allow you to hold a bow, I'm afraid.
Just off to the side of Minerva, as the professor says that, Celerimus is just there going, "What? No, this is an outrage. You must continue your archery. You're very good at it." Ah! And we'll continue to waffle.
Their voice sort of penetrates through the sort of echo chamber that you have at the minute and distracts you a little bit from what you're being told, but you're still able to get the information that that the professor's giving you. Right. the guards here will escort you back to your room, where you will gather your things and you will be moved to private accommodations within this teacher's building. Okay.
All right. I suppose that makes sense.
Good. Now, there are other things that I would like to discuss with you. However, I feel that we need to get you in to your new accommodations first. So you may take the rest of the school day off to get yourself moved and reacquainted with your new surroundings. And tomorrow we will begin your lessons. We will stick to the same schedule that you have. So you will have botany, history, unfortunately not archery, and then botany again.
Twice in one day?
Yes. After school, remember?
Yes. Yes, you're right.
We'll still do that.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate you putting a neck out for me.
You're welcome. Please, off we go.
We'll sort of... She hasn't finished the tea, but we'll take one final sip and put it down and sort of give him a little thank you nod and head on out.
As you head out of the door, the two armoured guards are stood there and they follow with you and escort you back to your dorm room. Unfortunately, the dorm room that you're staying in is in a public area of the university, so having two shiny armoured people with you does draw quite a lot of attention, and news of the popular girl getting the absolute shit kicked out of her has spread very quickly around. So there are lots of whispers and lots of talking that you pretty much hear all of it. If you don't hear it, one of your friends hears it. And
surely some of it is positive though, right? Surely some of the students are like, yeah, fucking get her.
A lot of them are like that, but you've probably got about 25% of the students that you walk past are horrified of what you've done to Carissa. How dare they do it? They're Carissa stans, as the phrase seems to be. So a lot of them are like that. Then there's about 50% that are, gearing it on, like, yeah, she fucking got what she deserved. And then there's another 25% that agree with the 50, but are scared shitless of you. In fact, I'm going to change those numbers around, and it would be 25% that are happy that it's happened to her, and then 50% are happy that it's happened to her, but are scared shitless of you.
Right.
Swap that around.
As she's walking again, she's just like tucks her behind the ears, just holding onto her bag, just trying to physically be as small as possible, eyes down, just get through it, and ignore everyone. Like, doesn't make eye contact with anyone. But I think there's just a moment where one of the students that's cheering her on says something that's like actually quite funny, but along the lines of Carissa deserved it. And there's just that little bubble inside of her that lets her sort of half smile out. And then she realizes and just kind of quashes it back down again and is back to sort of being quietly horrified and just carries on.
You just hear in your head, there you go, you're getting it.
And I think, again, because it's sort of appeared, Aravis has sort of come up out of nowhere. It's almost like because she's still not used to their voice, we'll just, but like super quietly, just try and shush them. And then again realize that she said that out loud and just kind of glance up at the two guards to see if they clocked that.
You can see that their heads have moved to look towards you, I'll get you to roll an insight check.
Sure. Not amazing at those. Don't go on there. Okay, great. That is a 7.
So with a 7, you're not quite sure if you're not sure what they're thinking. They've just looked at you because you made a noise.
Yeah. Again, like, looks a bit guilty, head down, just walk into the room.
Yeah. You get to your dorm. They open the door for you. You walk inside and you're able to pack your stuff. I mean, how tidy would your... I'm guessing it would be spotless.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got plenty of stuff, I think. It's not like completely Spartan. She's got little knickknacks. She's got plenty of books. She's got like sketching implements. She's not a great drawer, but she's got like a little sketchbook and that kind of thing. But yeah, so it probably, it all fits in a large suitcase.
Just as you pack everything up, and just as you're about to leave the room, one of your friends speaks up and says to you, "Don't forget under the pillow."
And she'll, yes, you're right. Lift the pillow.
And it's one of your books.
Mm-hmm.
Which book do you think you were... Which book that isn't a school book do you think you would have been reading at night?
I think out of the 4 of them, the one that she aspires to be the most is probably the Tales of Sir Celerimus. So the others are there. They're also they also appear in some of the books on her bookshelf, but Celerimus is a dashing, swashbuckling swallow hero, folk hero type, always trying to do good in a very sort of dashing Robin Hood kind of way. And I think those stories are quite cozy to her because they're generally quite bouncy and fun, and justice always prevails, and yeah, it's fun fantasy.
And you get a general sense of glee come from within you at seeing this book and the other books as well. And you are escorted out of your now empty dorm and taken to the teacher's department, where you are provided with a very small room.
Mm-hmm.
It's not near any of the teachers' rooms. It's it looks like it was once a cupboard that's been repurposed. A large cupboard, but a cupboard nonetheless.
Sure.
That has been repurposed for you. It does have a window.
Oh, that's nice.
It's you have a window.
Great. To peer out of my little dark tower.
And as you step in, there is a teacher in there who is wearing a very almost traditional witch's outfit. Big pointy hat, big long black robes, look very Professor McGonagall style. Older elven woman, grey hair tied up into a bun, that big pointy purple hat.
Love
and he's waving her hands around as all of this stuff that was in the room is being moved out and a bed forms, and you watch as the room almost extends outwards a little bit to make it slightly bigger, and a door forms within the room that leads into a washroom is created. You've heard rumors that a lot of the brickwork within the university is moldable and that new rooms can be created at the whim of a magic user if they know the correct incantations and stuff. This is the first time that you've witnessed it. The teacher or the professor turns to you. This is Professor Gonagall.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, we'll just go with that because I didn't name all of the teachers, just the ones that I thought that you'd interact with. And they look you up and down, nod to you, and then walk out of the room. They don't
Thank
say
you.
anything to you. As you say thank you, she stops in the doorway and goes, "That's all right," and then carries on walking. One of the guards speaks to you for the first time and says, "Get yourself prepared. Get your head down for the night. We'll be stationed out here, and we will see you in the morning."
Thank you. Do I at least get to know your names? If you're...
No.
Oh. Are you... Is it always going to be you two?
Yes.
Do you not... I don't mean this in a, oh, I'm trying to escape sort of way, but will you not need breaks?
They close the door on you.
Okay.
These two don't seem very nice.
Great.
Well, at least one of them doesn't.
We'll just sort of, as the menagerie sort of manifests in the space around her. Why does this feel like a prison?
You hear from within you, because they haven't appeared, but you hear from within you. That's because it is.
Okay. Well, I guess it's better than actual prison if I get to still study. And this way, Carissa can't bother me. So I guess we better make the best of it.
She's not going to be bothering anybody for a little while at least.
You don't have to sound quite so gleeful about that.
No, right, you're right. I need to work on that. Sorry, I just like to I like to spread my wings, as it were. You should try it sometime.
I don't have feathers.
Are you sure about that?
We'll just sort of lift up her arms and...
Nothing there.
I'm picturing, Josh, a little montage-y type thing of Minerva putting all her, putting her clothes in the wardrobe and putting her books. I don't know if there's a bookshelf, but putting her books out and her writing tools and it just kind of being a little bit. She sort of just tries to ignore Aravis and sort of settle into the sort of, right, let's make this space mine. And I'm picturing that sort of like, do you know the start of the song Once Upon a December where it's like music box twinkly? It's that kind of, she's not full like Snow White, let's clean this up kind of thing. It's just like a more drifty version of that kind of, well, if it's a prison, I'm gonna make it mine, make it my own. And throughout will be sort of aware that the guards are outside, so it'll be very quiet, but muttering under her breath, just talking to the emotions, to the menagerie, just chatting, because we're in a quiet, safe space, so we can, and she can acknowledge them properly and talk to them.
I think after their last comment, I think Aravis doesn't say anything else after that. Keeps themselves hidden within you and just lets you get on with what you're doing, really. You set your room up. You might get the odd emotion say, no, don't put that there, put it over here instead. You know,
You're always so picky.
you might get the odd ones, the odd one of though. They always. I think we can both agree that they always fight over which book you should be reading.
Absolutely.
But it gets to nighttime, and you can go to sleep if you want to.
She will. I mean, she'll do a little bit of like studying, a little bit of like if she has any homework, she'll crack on with that. But yeah, we'll just after everything's set out, we'll get fully immersed in her storybooks for a while, and then drift off to sleep, probably with the storybook still like open, like over her face.
You fall asleep, and you're not sure how much time passes, but you drift off into a dream. And the dream starts with you walking through the halls of the university like you did earlier, with the guards leading you. Except instead of you being all nervous and pulled into yourself and trying to avoid eye contact and avoid being the center of attention like you were previously, you are effectively strutting your stuff. You are proud of what has happened. You are signing people's textbooks as they come up to you. You are engaging with people. The guards are having a laugh with you. You are really out there and taking in every single piece of attention and absolutely loving every minute of it, which is a strange feeling. And then you get to your dorm room, your old dorm room, and the door opens outwards and you take a step in. And as you take a step in, everything suddenly gets smaller. Sorry, everything suddenly gets bigger for you. And you feel yourself quite close to the ground. You look around and you're not in your dorm room. You're in a really dark and dank, horrible place. There are people stood around a strange looking contraption on the floor, all wearing dark red robes with like a black upper piece and a black stripe that goes down the front of the head. All of their faces are completely covered. You can see flanking you on your left and right, instead of the two guards, you can see your parents, the only faces that are visible to you. Both of them are holding your hands, as you are quite giddy. You're not your normal size, wearing a basic nightgown, nothing on your feet. You're led through this crowd of robed figures up to this strange contraption, and you see your parents' voice, you see their mouths move. You can't hear their voices, but you know that they're saying to you, go on, darling, climb up. And you do. You climb up onto this thing, and you feel tightness around your wrists as these sort of straps are tied around you. And whatever this thing is lifted up into the air with you strapped to it. You then get like this intense sense of pain go through you, although there's no cuts or bleeding or anything like that happens. It feels like your very essence is being pulled out of you. You can see that all of these robed figures their arms are all sort of interlocked with each other, so you can't see any skin, but you can feel that they're chanting. And you can feel that something's going on with your spirit, as it were. You can feel that there's a tear here and a tear there. Something cracks, not physically within your body, but something inside of you. And then there's like a god-awful rip and everything fades. And you just hear a familiar voice. Now, dear. It's it's a very traumatic thing that you've just gone through there. Don't worry, I'll protect you. I'll hold back this pain and these memories. Now, come on, stand up. And you feel this impulse for you to stand up, and you are yourself again, your older self. And stood in front of you is Aravis, touching you as if you are both two physical forms that are able to interact with each other. They have their hands on your shoulders, one hand stroking away tears on your face. Don't worry, I'll take the pain away. Don't worry. I'll lock it away where it won't hurt you again, okay? Just promise me that you will be yourself as much as you can be, okay?
Is this, am I actually awake?
You're not.
Now is this still in the dream?
You're not awake. You're in your dream, but you're able to interact within the dream.
What did they do to me?
You're special. We're special, I should say. They wanted something from you. They weren't able to get it. There was something, and she smiles, that stopped them. Someone that they didn't expect. But the pain that you went through in order for them to reach that realization is just too much. I can take that away. It's not permanent. There will come a time where it will all come back, and I'm sorry for that. For when that happens, just know that I will be sorry. But know that you are special, and look out for these people. And you can see behind them this symbol appears, and the symbol itself is a 7-pointed star. Each of
7-pointed star.
It's always a 7-pointed star. God damn it! I mean, there's 7 elements of magic. It's a 7-pointed star. Each of the tips of the stars have the elemental symbology for the element, and then in the center of the star is like a whirling vortex of purple and black energy. Whatever you do, be careful of the cult of the fallen. They will try to get you, and they will try to resurrect those that have fallen.
And this is not a name that I have heard.
You make a history check for me, please, with disadvantage because you're just unlocking memories.
Sure. With disadvantage, that's still a 16.
Wow. You have no idea what the cult of the fallen are or who they are. However, you have, now that these repressed memories have now seemingly been unlocked, you remember your parents mentioning it a lot. And you remember them saying, oh, we're going to our cult of the fallen club meeting, and we're going to go do this, we're doing that, we're doing this. And it sort of clicks into place all of the times that they were never at home. Whereas before you always put it down to them being at work. But now these fragments are being filled in with, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going. But it also gives you, also brings up a feeling of fear within you, because you remember that there are times that both of your parents, or one of your parents, or both of them, have been gone for a long period of time, and sometimes they come back injured. But that was all stuff that was repressed before, but now it's all at the forefront. And Aravis is just stood there with their hands on your shoulders.
I think just as all of this has kind of come back to her, I think she probably is just having a bit of a cry, and will lean into whatever embrace they are offering.
They give you a full embrace. This is completely different to how they've acted since they've awoken, effectively. But you can feel a warmth come from them, a warmth that you always feel from yourself. And it's like the two essences, the two warmths coming off of you and coming off of them are twisting and turning together like you're one and the same. And as they're hugging you, these wings, these three-coloured wings come out and wrap themselves around you as well. And after a while, they disappear in almost like this radiant dust. And you see your menagerie all physically able to connect with you, all pulling in for a hug, for this big group hug effectively. And you get a sense of unity. There's something that's happened. Maybe it's this memory, this dream that you've had, but it seems to have brought everyone together. There's no bickering, there's no arguing over what clothes you're wearing in this dream currently, or how you're feeling, or the proper way you should be acting in this moment, or anything like that. It's just they're all supporting you in what you've just been through. And a lot of them, all of them, also give off this essence of shock, as if they didn't know this either. And they just want to comfort you, all of you. All of them want to comfort you, should I say. Mm-hmm. And that sets you off into a deep sleep. And you're able to wake up in the morning feeling maybe a little bit different.
And there's still a lot of questions to be answered. And I don't know. I feel like obviously that was vivid and clear enough of a dream that it was like more of a lucid dream situation, and definitely more of a revelation. But I think there's still a tiny part of her that's like, don't trust knowledge you got in a dream, you twonk.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you've got that feeling, and you wake up in the morning and everything seems to be as it was. There's bickering going on and various different conversations being had that's at the forefront. You can see that your new friend is getting a little bit more in on the conversations now.
Mm-hmm.
and maybe is being a little bit more widely accepted. But you do also get that feeling that they do pull back sometimes as well. Just checking what the time is. We've got a little bit of time because we had a bit of a shorter first half. Mm-hmm. So I think it's time we get into the nitty gritty.
Great, let's go. 20 minutes left, 10 minutes left. Let's do a combat.
Yeah. Combat gets a Tarrasque. Sorry, what? You are able to get yourself ready,
Mhm.
and you are led by the 2 guards who don't seem to have left their post at all, and are taken to Professor Giles' office. Professor Guile is sat in there, and he welcomes you in. Right, now, let us begin your lessons for the day, shall we?
Opens book, pen at the ready.
Pen at the ready, and you go through the day being taught by Professor Guile. It's very strange when you're taught history, because he's not normally a history teacher, and his style is completely different to Professor Greenleaf's. He likes to use the plants that are in his office as, little stand-in for things, and he'll tell you what the history of this particular plant is, and all of this sort of stuff, and it basically just sort of turns into more of a complete day of botany on various different levels, whether it be actual, herbalism stuff or learning the history of plants. And yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but when it gets to the end of the day, and it gets to what would be considered the extracurricular activities, he sits down after having gone out to get some like food and drink and stuff, like as part of a break time. You were provided with some food and stuff, but you're not allowed to leave the classroom until you're ready to go back to your bedroom, back to your dorm, your cupboard, as it were. And as he comes back in, you can see that he's got a full kit of supplies with him that he seems to have grabbed from somewhere. And he puts them on clears his table and puts them down. Right, now, as your extracurricular activities, I thought it might be a good idea for me to teach you something a little out of the, little off curriculum, as it were. And he sets it all down, and it's different. There's things here to make potions that you're used to seeing, but there's other elements here. There looks to be a few vials of blood here. Different types of brands seem to be mixed in with all of this, and it's all very strange. And he looks to you and goes, please now, what do you know of hemocraft?
Absolutely nothing. I'd never heard of it at all until you mentioned it now.
He gets a really joyous look on his face. Excellent, right. So, well, hemocraft is a form of herbalism. However, it is a way for one to enhance their own abilities through the art of herbalism. There are many different forms of hemocraft that you can take. I'm going to teach you the basic ones. A lot of it is still a very experimental form of herbalism out there. So there is no like advanced versions of it. It is a case of each hemocraftian, as I like to call them, learns the basics, and then they develop their own brands, as it were, and develops into this mutation, as it were. And each person who practices hemocraft is different, and it's very exciting stuff.
Huh. And do you think? Sorry, Professor. I obviously I study as hard as I can, but I'm not particularly inclined to magic per se. You think I'd be able to learn this?
Oh yes, definitely yes. All as you've probably learned in your history lessons, all living beings have a form of magic within them. They all feel the force. They all have forms of magic within them, and even those who aren't able to cast spells are able to harness hemocraft in some way or another.
How does it work?
Allow me to show you. And he will spend some time. He will teach you the details of how Hemocraft works through the various different types of mutations that there are, how you can use the herbs that you would normally use to make like potions and antidotes and all of that sort of stuff, and how you can manipulate them with blood and other more eccentric ingredients that you wouldn't normally find. And he shows you a couple of concoctions that he's already made, and he goes, until you feel comfortable with the product that you've made, don't test them. And he takes a drink of the one that he's made, and you watch as his back cracks a little bit and he stands up really straight, whereas before he was quite a hunched over man. He stands up quite straight, and you watch as he flexes his arms, and you can see his veins pop up in his arms, and veins bulge out of his neck and up his face, and his eyes turn this really blood red color, and he sort of twists and turns, and you hear cracking. He's like, yes, as you can see, and he picks his table up and he lifts it up and starts bench pressing the table and then puts it down. And you, after a few moments, you watch as his form almost shrinks back into its more shriveled state. That was a diluted version, so more for teaching purposes than actual use. When you actually use them, they last a lot longer than that, but you get the general gist, don't you?
I do, Professor. If anyone can learn this magic and it has such drastic effects, why is it not more common? Why do you not teach it at the university anyway?
Do you think something like this that can be used by those who can't use magic, but also used by those who can use magic to amplify their magic, do you think that is something that should be commonly known in the world?
I suppose only to the same extent that magic should be commonly known in the world. There are many spells that, I suppose it's not down to me, but there are many spells that are very powerful and dangerous that still get taught.
There are. The difference when it comes to spellcasters is that for a lot of them it is natural. So even without any formal training, somebody could walk into a village and blow it off of the face of the map if they wanted to, without training. Whereas with Hemocraft, you have to learn it. You can't, it's not something you can just pick up and do. Which is why it can be such a dangerous thing. If taught to the wrong person, you could amplify their power by a stupid amount. Which is why it's not commonly taught, but you are a very gifted individual, and I feel that with the types of Hemocraft that there are, it could help you with your blackout and with your memory loss, as it were.
I think up till now, I mean, she's not particularly wise, but she's sort of generally gone along with what the professor has said. But I think we're starting to get to the point now where I would like to roll an insight check.
You can roll an insight check. I will allow you to roll it with advantage because there is a voice in the back of your head that is going, the entire time.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that was a 5 and a natural 20 for 21.
Okay. So, a slight point that I need to add in before the natural 20 is on top of the Hemocraft, he's also taught you about something called branding, which allows you to mark a person and be able to learn things about them or amplify their abilities, or you can brand yourself and amplify your own abilities.
Mhm.
And he demonstrated this on you by not branding you, but by painting something on your hand to show you what a brand looks like and where you can place it. So you've got this sort of red symbol on your hand at the moment, but it's painted there. But with a natural 20, you can tell that there's something sinister here. There's no reason why any sort of professor should be teaching any sort of student about a newer form of alchemy that can amplify a target's that person's abilities, especially somebody who's had an unknown outburst and is seemingly not able to control themselves.
Yep.
And as you are thinking this, you're unconsciously rubbing your hand where the brand is, where the paint has been put on your hand. And as you're rubbing it, you think that you've got to the point where you've been rubbing it so hard that you've made your skin sore. But that isn't the case. You go to look at your hand and you can see that you've rubbed away the paint, but there is a brand there. And as you see the brand, you just hear a scream in the back of your head that just screams, "Run now." The symbol in your hand is that of the 7-pointed star.
Oh, good. Great. Out of the are we saying, Josh, that he has taught me the specific brands and curses that I've got on my character sheet? Mechanically, I have those available to me.
Yeah, you're a quick learner, so he's taught you all of the basic brands. However, and one of those was the brand that he had originally placed on your hand.
Yeah.
But the brand itself has morphed into this new one that you don't know what it is, but you have all of the, effectively in game terms, you have all of the what would be considered your class features at level 3 as a blood hunter, which you can now use as a level 3 blood hunter.
Okay. I think she'll as he's explaining all this, and she'll spot that, but she'll try as best she can that masking experience just to be like, oh right, yeah, okay, interesting, and close her hand and let him finish what he was saying, and then sort of start trying to I say all this with a terrible charisma score. We'll try and sort of be like, this is all really interesting, Professor. I think, sorry, the yesterday's excursions must have taken it out of me a little bit. Can we pause there for today? I'm keen to carry on tomorrow.
Yes, of course, yes. If you need to go and rest, please do.
Thank you. For everything. And we'll sort of pack up her stuff, take her leave, clock the guards. Can I, as we're walking back to my room, can I try and see if there's anything about them I can clock? Like
About the guards?
Yeah, in terms of like, what weapons are they packing? Do they have any symbology on them? Now I'm thinking about it properly, do I remember them ever being on campus before?
Okay. Make me a history check, please.
Hopla. That is a non-nat 20.
Okay. As you are escorted back to your dorm, you're led by the guards. They are wearing the armor of the campus guard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, they're a lot more heavily armored than what you're used to. One thing that you do notice is you've never seen their faces. Their armor is like proper medieval style knight armor, where they've got the visor that's pulled down, which is something that isn't normal within the normal campus guard. They're normally in lighter armor, and their faces are always open. They've got their ID badges and everything on there. It's sort of like a mixture of a medieval towns guard or a fantasy towns guard and an actual campus security guard. It's the sort of mix that we've got going on here. But these guys are different. And I think with that natural 20, it wasn't a natural 20, but with that dirty 20, I think as you begin walking and with the extra set of eyes that you have going on within yourself, you begin to hear them say that there's something not right with them. They're different than they were yesterday.
Right. She will try and make a little small talk. I know they weren't very talkative yesterday, but they at least said no to her. So we'll try and did you get a chance to sleep at all? Were you just stood outside my room the entire night?
Neither of them talk to you.
Or I suppose you might have got a break during the day while I was with the professor.
Still no answer.
They're definitely letting me just like walk back to the room, right?
Yeah, but they're flanking you on either side and they're just walking. They keep pace with you, so if you speed up, they speed up. If you slow down, they slow down. One is slightly in front of you, the other is slightly behind you.
Yeah.
Only by like a step, only by like a pace.
Okay. I am... So the problem is, these guys both look pretty chunky. So I think they're going to get past what I have in mind. Do either of them have any weapons on them?
Yes, one of them is wielding a greatsword, not a greatsword, a longsword and a shield. The other one has a spear and a shield.
Great, cheery.
Both with short swords on their sides.
Okay. I think she is going to try and no, she's not. She's just going to walk back to her room and try and figure it out from there. I don't think she's going to try and make a break for it while they are immediately flanking her.
Okay. Sorry, I was just putting up a stat block. Ouch. As you get back to the room and your door is opened and then promptly closed again with no word said from them, you are left to your own devices in your room.
Okay, immediately going to the window and trying to figure out what that situation is.
Okay. You walk over to the window. As this was more of a storage cupboard beforehand, the window was extended when the room was manipulated to be bigger. However, the window itself wasn't really changed, so it's like one of those really stiff windows that's never opened. It doesn't open outwards like a big window, so you've just got that little top bit, so you'd have to try and squeeze through that. Luckily, with the room being extended, you probably could squeeze through it. If it was the
Okay.
same size as it was before, no.
Yeah. I think she's gonna grab her satchel bag and stuff her fairy tale books in it, and any other emergency supplies, but she can't carry a whole suitcase. And then very quietly try and move the bed and the bookcases in front of the door.
Yeah. Maybe a stealth check, I reckon.
Great. I'm so glad you said that instead of athletics. Oh, that rolled off a natural one. So that's a 17.
You're able to move them into place. It's not particularly... It's quiet. It does take you a little while because they are quite heavy. If you're leaving most of your stuff on them then and just taking what you need, then they'll take a little bit of moving to get there, but you get that there. You're able to get to the window and open it. It is dark outside, or it's getting dark outside. The sun's beginning to set. It's dusk. Yeah, dusk. It's dusk at the minute. So you get out of the window. I think I'd like you to roll a perception check, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
10.
Okay. As you climb out of the window and land on the ground on the other side, you begin moving. Where would you like to go?
That's the question. I think she's been talking to the menagerie this whole time as well, but like super quietly under her breath. And maybe they've been giving her advice on like, no, put that one there. Oh no, I think that one, and that kind of thing. But will, once she's out, sort of look around and be like, oh, what do you think, Perceptia?
Oh, well, dear, suppose you could try and leave the university completely, or you could try and go to the headmaster, but I suppose that wouldn't end well either. It might be best for you to actually just leave.
But where else will I go?
Well, better to get out first, get out of danger, and then figure it out, old chap, do you not think?
Okay. All right. So we'll just sort of try and stealthily as possible sneak to leave the university campus.
Okay. We'll use your stealth roll from before. You go to the way to leave the university, and you begin walking, sneaking through, the gardens, the bushes. It's getting to the point now where there are students around, but they're going back to their dorms at this point. I think it takes you a little while, but eventually you notice that there is a strange smell coming from you. And as you look down, you can see on your hands and sort of scraped across your body, across your clothing, is this strange yellow powder. And as you get into a place where it's completely dark, it is all very lightly pulsing. It's as if something was on your window as you climbed out of it. Yeah.
So now I've got glow-in-the-dark dust on me.
And as you look at your hands, you feel a burning sensation on the new brand that you've got on your hand. And as you look at it, it is pulsing red. And you hear the clattering of armor running out of one of the main doors, and you can see the two guards are looking for you. What would you like to do?
Is I suppose the way that she's snuck out of the window, is the powder mostly on her front?
Mostly on the front, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try and find we're in sandy climes, not muddy climes.
I will say, You do still have some tea leaves on you from earlier.
This is a good point. Thank you. I feel like Perceptia has pointed that out to her.
The tea leaves, love. Remember the tea leaves.
So she'll, she will try on the glowy powder first, and then look at her hand and see if it works on the brand as well.
Yeah, so you do it on your clothing, and the strange yellow stuff disappears. It all flakes off like dust and just dissipates. You try to put it on the brand, it doesn't seem to do anything.
Okay. Just close her hand. She doesn't have a glove, but that's on the to-do list for later. I think she's just going to try and run as quickly but as stealthily as she can.
I'm going to roll a perception check. I don't see this going very well. Oh, actually, that's not bad. I rolled a 13.
No.
I rolled a 17, but their perception is -4. So,
wow.
But as you run out of the main gate, they do spot you, but they just spot the tail end of you as you leave, and you can hear them chasing after you. You are now in a chase in the city of Abacathis. Where would you like to go?
Oh gosh. I mean, she's not been out in the city a lot, to be honest. She was sent to the university when she was like preteen. So last time she was like, I mean, she might have come out into the city on like school trips occasionally. But it's not like she had a big group of friends to go, let's go out in the city on a weekend kind of thing. So she's a little bit sheltered, to be honest. So
you do have one advantage. If you were to turn back and look at the university, you would see the area that you used to sit at lunch. So you have a vague idea of where things are, like the docks and the industrial district where you used to live. So you could kind of narrow down where you need to go from there, although you don't know about navigating streets.
I think one of the first thoughts she might have, one of the thoughts she had is like, get to the docks and then you can escape. And then the other thought is, I don't like what I've learned about this hemocraft from Professor Guile. He was talking about all these brands. I've clearly been branded. Maybe if I went to the library, I could learn a bit more and about how to get rid of it. But also there's the nagging doubt of like, what if the librarians there are also part of like whatever he's doing. But I think, I think because it's such a big landmark, I think that's at least something to go by. She's going to try and head in that direction.
Yeah, as you can see it from anywhere in the city anyway. So yeah, you begin making your way there. The guards spot you and begin giving chase. As you are running, even though it is dusk, there are a lot of people still around. You duck and weave between different people. And as you round a corner that takes you closer towards the pyramids, you turn to look back at the guards that are gaining on you, and you turn around just a little bit too slow as you run into somebody, and you both fall over onto the floor. This figure...
I'm so sorry.
What the bloody hell do you think you're doing? Christ's sake. Watch where you're
Running away.
running.
Being chased. Sorry. Gotta go.
What? You get up and run. Don't even get a chance to look at this figure. You run. I'd like you to roll me a luck check, please.
On which dice?
On D100, please.
Okay. A 41.
41. Okay, so as you are running through the streets, again, not 100% knowing them exactly, You run into an alleyway and begin running, thinking you can see the pyramid right above you. You can see the stairs that lead up to it. You're like, yes, get through this alleyway and I can get there. As you run through it, fear sets into you as you realize this alley is a dead end. There's no way, there's no doors. It's just there's rubbish at the end. The wall is far too high for you to climb.
There's like a conversation with like Solarimus is like, go on, leap over the wall. It'd be really flashy. I can't do that. I'm not you.
Aravis has been really quiet and hasn't said anything. But as you stand there with the fear of the Guardians in you, as I should say, these two guards step into the alleyway.
Can I have like dove into the trash?
You dive into the trash, make a stealth check.
Yeah. I'll be stinky. That's an 18.
18, so I will roll a perception check for them. They walk into the alleyway. You've dived into the trash. And you can see from where you are, not going to make you roll a perception check because your focus is on them and hiding. There's something wrong with their eyes. Their eyes, you can't see their facial features or anything, but there's just like this ember of redness coming from their eyes. And they've both got their weapons drawn and they begin stabbing into various different bags of rubbish that are here. It's at this point that you hear, "Oh, you cheeky fuckers, your friend knocked me over. I think you need to give me some fucking pay, don't you?" And you see stood at the end of the alleyway a short figure wearing basic leather armor. Looks like there's no arms on the armor. Dressed for the weather of the area that they're in, with a cloak on. They pull their hood down and you can see a female dwarf with long red hair tied up into a bun, a scar going down the side of her face, piercing emerald green eyes, and a ferocious frown but a sinister grin on her face at the same time. "I think you fuckers better give me some bloody money, don't you? Knocking me over like that on my arse. Your friend did it beforehand and then you fuckers came and done it." They turn round, the two guards, and look at her and she goes, "All right, I see. Not quite all there, are you? Okay." She picks up a stone off the floor and flicks it towards one of their heads. It hits into the head with a heck of a lot of force, and you watch as the helmet just falls off and there's no head there. It clankers onto the floor. "All right, okay. Well, I don't know if you're there, little miss, but I'll help you." And her cloak comes off. You watch as she grabs a sword from her side and thrusts it outwards. This arc of electricity just shoots off into the sky, and she spins it around and just dashes forward. And you watch very quickly this dwarven figure takes down these two sets of animated armor in 3 strikes each. She sort of dives in, blocks the attack of the spear, sort of spins around their shield, slashes at their leg. As she lands on the other side of them, she's looking around for you but can't see you.
I'm kind of peeking out from behind like a pile of something gross.
I'll make a perception check to see if she sees you. She does see you. She sees you, gives you a wink with her scarred eye, spins round and blocks the attack of the one with the long sword, grabs its shield, smashes the shield up into its head, causing its head to fall off, and then she rolls under its legs and cuts it clean in half. And then as the other one goes in for another attack, she just stabs the sword into the center of its chest as this electricity forms up around the armor and just causes it to explode outwards, making a rather loud noise. But she swings her sword, and then puts it away. "You can come out now. These animated bastards are gone."
We'll sort of slowly peer out from behind the rubbish That was incredible. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks. What's your name?
Minerva.
Minerva, right?
You?
My name's Lila.
Thank you. Again, I don't... Oh, I don't have anything on me. I didn't bring any money. I can't repay you. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. You seem to be being chased by these guys. They look like they're wearing sort of the armor of the university, but it's pretty heavy armor for them to be wearing, especially chasing a student there.
Not anymore.
Run away.
Turns out I don't like it when you do that.
No, doesn't look like it, does it? Where are you going?
I'll be honest, I don't know. Was trying to get away first, and then I was going to figure that out afterwards.
Right. Okay. Have you got anything on you that they could use to track you? It seemed that they were pretty honed in on your position.
I don't know. Just she's gonna spend the briefest of seconds looking at her hand. I don't know.
Make an insight check.
I'm gonna make an insight check on her. Okay.
If you want to, or any other check if you want to, whatever it was you wanted to do.
14.
14. She seems concerned, but you can't tell if there's anything sinister there.
Yeah, you know what? I think Elodie is intelligent, but not that wise. Well, yeah, after a moment of hesitation, we'll just be like, well, I can't be betrayed by two people in one day, surely. And she'd be like, possibly this?
What's that you've been branded by the look of it?
Magically, I can't get rid of it.
Right. Oh. Well, that's a bit shit, isn't it?
I'm assuming that they might be able to send more of those things, so if you know unless you know anything about how to get rid of this, I should probably keep running so they don't I wouldn't want you to keep fighting over and over.
You seem to be in a bit of distress there, my love. I personally don't know how to get rid of something like that, but I know somebody who will. It's completely up to you, but you could come with me to my home. I live in the town of Merkstead. I work for a mercenary group there.
That's very far away.
It's gonna take us a while to get there, but I'm used to traveling around, and I'm used to I'm used to losing things that are trying to find me, so I could protect you on the way there. And then once we've removed the brand, once my friends removed your brand, we can talk about what you could do to pay me back for that and for knocking me on my arse.
That's incredibly kind of you. You would put me up that entire journey? How would we sail or by cart or?
Oh, we go on. We could no. Sailing's too restrictive. We'd go on foot to start with. Not on cart. They'll be looking for carts. I know a few back roads. She laughs, as it were. So we'll take a bit of a slower journey to start with, and then eventually we'll, when we get to the town of, as Josh forgets his map. When we get to the settlement of Rose Chapel, we can get ourselves a cart from there, and then we can speed up the journey a little bit.
I've never left Abercathus before.
Oh, newbie.
But I suppose there's not much left here for me.
Oh, come on. Hey, I might even be able to find you a job at my father's mercenary company. Come on.
She'll probably just take a second listening inwards to see what the others are saying. I think Ember is just being her usual sort of distrusting, grumpy self. Like, I don't trust her.
too many offers, too many people trying to be nice to you in one day. Don't take it, don't take it.
And then like the Alorum is like, well, remember how to do French, Natalie. What have I done to myself?
She was very fancy with her sword fighting. It would do you well to learn some of a similar trick, no?
And Solarimus is like,
Oh, well, think of the adventure, old chap. Think of it. Exploring the world, dashing about with learning from this new teacher. There's nothing like you've ever experienced before.
and she'll turn to Perceptia, who and be like, I can't trust my instincts. It's not gone well so far. And Perceptia will respond with,
It's all right, dear. Sometimes you've got to do these things to figure out whether you fall on your feet or not, you know? This one seems nice enough, and if it turns out not, well, you're in no worse a position than you are already. Right?
I don't know how quickly that conversation has happened, like, in her head, but she's probably, like, blanked out a little bit in the real world as she's just processing.
You get just as Aravis comes in and goes, I think you should follow. I agree. I think you should follow your instincts. You get in your face a hand going, hello, hello. Are we going or what?
Yes, let's do it.
Right, come on then. And she's her weapon, puts her cloak back on. Right. She walks over to a stool, pulls off a cloak. Not a stool, sorry, a clothesline. Pulls off a raggedy set of rags. Chuck that on. Sort of hide who you are. I think for the moment might be a good idea for you to maybe use a different name. You got another name I could call you other than Minerva?
Elodie?
Pretty. Nice name. Come on, let's
Elodie.
go.
Okay.
And with that, you leave the city of Abercathis with Lilla, the mercenary. And I think, because we've gone over, I think that is where we are going to leave it. And I think your character will be... We've had a character... So Evie's character comes to has been in the town for, I think, 2 or 3 days before the campaign begins. You're literally going to arrive as the campaign begins.
Great, good.
So, yes.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope... sorry for it going a little bit longer, but wanted to make sure that we got as much as we could in, so we know some more details about Elodie and some things that could potentially come up in the long-running campaign going forward. Thank you very much, everybody. I've said that already, but I'm going to say it again. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank me.
On behalf of everybody.
Thank you. I will take that and blush. If you like what you see, you can catch all of our stuff on Twitch at twitch.tv/RollTogetherRPG. 6 p.m. UK time on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Mondays and Tuesdays we do D&D. Fridays we do other TTRPGs. Keep an eye on our socials by searching Roll Together RPG to see what we're doing and when we're doing it. A big thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. They are amazing. We love them. Without their help, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. They've made us a fan Discord and a wiki page where you can keep track of all of the stories that we've told. And if you'd like to join them, you can from as little as 1 of your local currency per month by following the link in chat or in the description below if you are watching on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, if you are watching on YouTube, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing to us and turning that little notification bell on as well. Helps with the algorithm, with all of the amazing D&D content there is out there. It helps you find us a bit easier. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be awesome. Thank you to our sponsors and supporters, and I think that's it. I don't think I missed anything. So, good night.
Podcast, D20 Club, sponsors and supporters, Wiki and Discord and YouTube. Yeah, that's the list.
Yeah, that's everything. Bye.
Bye.